So thanks to Aaron for that. Good crossover. Let's make our picks. We're terrible, as we note every week. I wish it's always like maybe if we talk about how terrible we are, maybe it'll gear us up for a big comeback. No, not good last week again. We all took, well, Nathan and I both took Michigan State with the points. That was wrong. Stephen gave the points. That was right. The over-under, Nathan wound up going under. That was right. Stephen and I went over. That was wrong. For the season, against the spread, Stephen Means 4-6-1, Nathan Baird 3-7-1. I am 2-8-1. Over unders, I am 4-6-1. Nathan and Stephen are 3-7-1. Our total picks, Stephen is 7-13-2. Nathan and I are 6-14-2. For this game, when I sent it to the texters, it was an 8-point spread. Ohio State favored by 8. It has now gone up to 8.5. So I guess we'll do 8.5. The over under is 64.5. Nathan, I know that 8, when we talked about it on Madness, I was saying, man, this feels like 10 to me. Didn't it come out at 7 then? It came out at 7, then went to 8, and now it's up to 8.5. So it's creeping. It's creeping towards Ohio State.
Yep. I think there are even books where you could have maybe got it at 6.5 at one point.
That was like I would have slammed that, like one score, like Ohio State wins by a touchdown. Like that feels like, because it's like, do you think like Michigan's going to have the ball at the end with a chance to go ahead or win? Like that would be quite a thing. It's not impossible, but the difference between 6.5 and 8.5, I'd start getting a little reluctant about 8.5, but well, we'll find out in our picks. All right, Stephen, let's start with you, since you are slightly ahead overall with 7-13-2 leading. My God, we got to get Tishu. Tishu's going to come back on, and then I'm going to ask Tyler Shoemaker some version of the question. Tyler, is this just been a really difficult year to bet on Ohio State? And he's going to be like, no, I'm 18-4 betting Ohio State this year. What is wrong with you people? And then we'll have to kick him off the podcast because he'll just be embarrassing us. All right, Steven, 8.5. Ohio State's given that 64.5. What's your pick for the game?
I feel like I'm living in a whole different world than what this line is. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't think this game is going to be close. I just don't see it. I'm 55-24. That's where I'm at with this, where they're easily over. They easily cover because this offense is just moving the ball and doing whatever it wants to do. And yes, the defense might give up a couple more things. I don't think Michigan's offense is going to play as badly as Michigan State's did, but I just don't see, like, 8.5 seemed very low to me. The line when it dropped, that seemed very low to me as well. So I'm 55-24 in a whole different world, thinking that Ohio State's just going to run away with this one.
So that's a 31-point win. That's 14.5 points over. The one thing to me is, if Michigan is competent, I think their offense could hold the ball a little bit, right? That if they don't, as Nathan, you've talked about a lot, Purdue's just giving the ball back to Ohio State, just making ridiculous mistakes. They might hold the Ohio State point total down a little bit, not by stopping Ohio State, but just by not letting Ohio State get the ball 13 times in the game. So that's the only thing that makes me a little reluctant about them going over 50. And it's, again, one of those, we've only said Mike McDonald's name 400 times this week, but I just think if he's at least somewhat better than Don Brown. But but again, how do you bet against the Ohio State offense against anybody short of Georgia right now? How do you bet against the Ohio State offense? You're probably throwing your money away. So to go over and give the points this convincingly certainly has a very strong chance of coming true, I think. Nathan, what do you got?
So I am going a little bit lower on the Ohio State score. I think this is the best team that Ohio State has played in this 3-game triumvirate here at the end of the season. I thought that similar to the committee, I've thought Michigan was better than Michigan State all along, and that there was just one of those things that the Spartans happened to win that game a few weeks ago. But I'm in agreement with Steven that I don't know that matters. I think we're maybe talking academically here a little bit, that Ohio State is just existing on a different level of football right now. So I'm taking 42-22. That was actually the score that I had ciphered up before I saw that the over under was 64.5. So I guess I'm half a point under by accident, but that's still a comfortable win. I think if Michigan had found a way to win that Michigan State game and they were 11-0 coming into this game, then I think a 20-point win against a team that would be ranked number 2, and they'd probably be ranked ahead of Ohio State right now, maybe, would seem like still a pretty bold pick in some ways. So 42-22 is my pick. So don't listen to that based on the numbers that Doug just read you a couple minutes ago.
It's good when we at least disagree a little bit, because then somebody somewhere has to get something right. So you are a half point under and Steven is 14.5 points over. So that means someone's going to get something right. Woo! Congratulations to us. Victory lap.
I mean, it could be a push too. I guess not if it's 64.5. It can't be 64.5. So it won't be a push. You're right.
All right. So I am being more circumspect about this, but I'm still giving the points with Ohio State and I'm still going over. So I have 41-28. It's only a 13-point win, but I'm saying like only a 13-point win, which goes back to, man, it does not feel that hard to give 8.5 in this game. It's one of those things, again, it's almost like I bet the money line. Like if you really think that Ohio State's not going to win by 8.5, then just take Michigan and get the bonus part of that. Like the idea of like Michigan, this is hard fought game and it's down to the, it's like, do you think Michigan's going to win or not? So 41-28 feels like a game to me. That is a lot. That 41 for Ohio State is Michigan 6-minute drive, like at least two 6-minute drives that result in points. Right. And that is like, no Cade McNamara pick sixes, right? Because I mean, that's Steven, if that's part of it too, with, all right, the Avalanche sometimes, as you've said, if you think Ohio State's getting out to a 14-point lead and it's 14-0 late in the first quarter, and now they've got to throw, and now here comes Marcus Williamson with the pick six and Cade McNamara, and now we're off to the races, right? So I do think Michigan, to have a chance to even get to my score, Michigan has to do something in the first quarter, Steven, or it might get away from them.
Score touchdowns. Because Michigan State didn't really turn the ball over at first. They just kicked the field goal and then they missed the field goal, and Ohio State went down and scored. And then the Avalanche is on. If you're going to do the 6-minute drive thing, it needs to end in a touchdown. You can't get 3 points in this game. 3 points gets you nothing here.